Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Carrying a fiery and stubborn heart, I walked towards the most tolerant execution ground. The echoes of being broken and shattered were all empty. Jiang Chen had black hair scattered on his shoulders, and a purple fur cape on his back. He leaned on a black leather sofa, holding a magazine in his hand, flipping through it boredly, and humming his favorite song in his previous life. Qinglong stood behind him, wearing a white shirt, a black hip skirt, black stockings on her straight long legs, holding a document in her arms, dressed like a secretary, and her curvy figure was clearly revealed. Qinglong stood on the other side, holding a mobile phone and laughing, and I don't know what he was reading. Jiang Chen threw the magazine on the coffee table. His expression became indignant. Qinglong immediately put away the phone and coughed to clear his throat, and his face began to become serious. Dongqing, this He owes me weapons but still hasn't given them to me yet. You can have someone put up a banner and hang it at the door of the He family every day. It's a sign that says you're not trustworthy and don't pay back your debts. It's disgusting to them. Qinglong smiled awkwardly and scratched his head. He, brother, the mace was actually delivered by the He family the day after you defeated He Wei. You were not there at the time, and the brothers thought it was too heavy, so they threw it in the warehouse. Jiang Chen's face was full of black lines. Didn't I ask you to follow up on this matter? Really? Go get it quickly. It's not easy to fight without a weapon. Okay. I'll get it right away. Qinglong ran away after hearing this. Looking at Qinglong's back, Jiang Chen shook his head with a headache. Qinglong behind him couldn't help but sneer. Hearing the laughter behind him, Jiang Chen's tone became gentle. By the way, Qinglong, how is the statistics of the funds seized from the last time we took down the Lionheart Society? If the amount is too much, it's okay, take your time. If Qinglong were here, he would have pointed at Jiang Chen's nose and scolded him for being double-standard. What does it mean that he yelled at me so loudly, but spoke softly to girls? Everything has been sorted out, President. The working capital of the Lionheart Society, plus the funds we blackmailed from the school's finance department. The finance department actively cooperated to increase the budget as soon as they heard that it was you. The total funds are about 10 million baileys. Oh, by the way, Lu Yanxin, the former vice president of the Lionheart Society, gave us another 2 million baileys as an apology, totaling more than 12 million baileys. Now the allocation of funds is waiting for your instructions. This Lu Yanxin is a bit interesting, and he is quite sensible. Well, you did a great job, Qinglong. 5 million of this will be directly allocated to me. You and Dongqing will each get 1 million baileys, and the remaining 5 million, just distribute it to the brothers under your command. Well, give it a larger proportion to the poor students in the club. Jiang Chen is always very tolerant and generous to his subordinates. The world is full of dangers nowadays, and it is not a bad idea to help the subordinates in need if he has the spare energy. Hearing this, Qinglong covered her mouth and smiled softly. Our president looks greedy, but he is actually very loving. Tisk, it's just a windfall anyway, it doesn't matter, I don't feel bad. Facing Qinglong's joke, Jiang Chen curled his lips. Not long after, Qinglong hurriedly walked in with a long wooden box in his hands. Oh, brother, this thing is really heavy. No, who would use a mace as a weapon? It's so cool to use a sword, only the bandit leaders in ancient times. As if he thought of something, Qinglong immediately shut up and looked at Jiang Chen cautiously. Sure enough, Jiang Chen's face darkened. Brother, I'm not saying that you are not a bandit. No, I'm saying that the one who uses a mace is a bandit. Ah, brother, listen to my explanation. Qinglong became more and more panicked as he spoke, and his face turned red. Shut up. Stay aside. Hey, okay. After saying that, Qinglong was still frightened and moved aside carefully. Without paying attention to him, Jiang Chen opened the wooden box and saw a stick-shaped weapon lying quietly in the box. It was about 1.5 meters long, made of meteorite iron, exuding a dark metallic luster, wide in front and narrow in the back, and the head was like a heavy date, with protruding sharp iron spikes all over it. The handle is slender, with a round iron ring on the top. It is said to weigh about 500 kilograms. Looking at the weapon in front of him, Jiang Chen was very satisfied. He stretched out his hand and lifted it up with one arm. The muscles were faintly blue. Yes, that's the feeling. This is what I want, the power to destroy everything, to break all laws with force. Hiss, watching Jiang Chen pick up the mace, his momentum suddenly changed, extremely terrifying. Qinglong immediately shrank his neck and quietly hid behind Qinglong. Just kidding, if the big brother is not stable and doesn't like me, this 2-meter-long giant will fall down, and I will burp on the spot. Ha ha ha. Good weapon, I'll call you. 8 fasts. Jiang Chen's tone was excited, and he touched the mace in your hand, and let the world feel the terrifying power of the mace again. Congratulations, brother, you have obtained a unique weapon. You are invincible in the world. Qinglong immediately flattered him when he saw this. Jiang Chen laughed, I got this thing, it's like God's help. Xiao Cheng, let's practice some other day, I'll let you try the power of my mace. Qinglong's face turned pale. No, brother, it's so beautiful. After the joke, Jiang Chen's smile gradually faded. Seeing that Jiang Chen's face was not right, Qinglong asked worriedly, brother, do you have any troubles? Don't worry, just tell me, I promise to do it properly. Jiang Chen did not reply, frowned, as if he was in deep thought. Qinglong seemed to have thought of something. President, is it because of the Hao family? The battle between Jiang Chen and Bai Qingshu at the Combat Power Appraisal Center has long been a hot topic, and the causes and consequences have long been thoroughly dug up by the powerful netizens. That's right, Jiang Chen sighed, now that I injured that rubbish Haosei, but didn't kill him, it's very difficult for me now. There is an enemy in the dark that disgusts you every day. It's hard for anyone not to worry. President, the Hao family is powerful and has a deep foundation in Qincheng. You should think twice before confronting them. Qinglong looked worried. Oh my! What are you afraid of? Brother, tell me where Haosei is, and I promise to find a place where no one is and tie him up and throw him into the river. Qinglong immediately shouted that he would sacrifice his life for the president. Okay. I know what to do about this. Jiang Chen fell into deep thought. Seeing this, Qinglong and Qinglong did not dare to disturb him and stayed aside. Now the Hao family and I will not give up, especially Haosei, who will definitely play some tricks and may implicate my family. Jiang Chen clenched the mace in his hand. It seems that I must find a way to get rid of this person as soon as possible. Jiang Chen thought secretly. Qinglong, you go find a way, mobilize people at all costs, and sort out all the information of the Hao family for me. Dongqing, mobilize your men, find opportunities to monitor Haosei's whereabouts anytime and anywhere, and find a few smart people to protect the safety of my family at any time. Got it, the two answered at the same time, with serious expressions. Chapter 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Exhaling a breath, looking at the only office left, Jiang Chen held the 8 rings in both hands and kept fiddling with it. TSK, how can such a big weapon be taken out for battle? I can't be like Hawkeye in the comics and carry it with me every day. Katakuri's Earth Dragon Thorn can take out weapons from his body and put weapons into his body when fighting Luffy. I wonder if I can do it. Speaking of which, Kaido doesn't usually hold a stick. When fighting, he suddenly appears with the 8 rings in his hand. When he transforms into a blue dragon, the stick disappears again. When he returns to human form, the stick appears again. What is the principle behind this? Jiang Chen scratched his head and fell into deep thought. Dragons can be big or small, can rise or hide. When they are big, they can create clouds and mist, and when they are small, they can hide their shapes. When they rise, they fly in the universe, and when they hide, they lurk in the waves. Can I also hide the 8 rings in my body? The more Jiang Chen thought about it, the more excited he became. But where should he put it? Activate the fruit ability to transform into a dragonman form. Lifting the top of the mace and opening his mouth wide, Jiang Chen tried to stuff the mace into his mouth like poking nucleic acid. it really worked. Under the transmission of the fruit's power, the mace had undergone unknown changes, it emitted a faint light, and there seemed to be a sense of induction in the dark. A mark was formed between himself and the 8 fasts, and they were connected in mind. Intuition told Jiang Chen that he might not be able to shrink other weapons before this stick was destroyed. This is the bond between the azure dragon fruit and the 8 fasts, the dark iron rod is shrinking. Vomit. Jiang Chen felt a little nauseous after being poked by the mace. No, it's so shameful. From now on, when the battle is in full swing, I will say not bad, kid, you are enough for me to fight. After saying that, he opened his mouth and vomited a big stick with a vomit. This scene is so eye-catching. Jiang Chen looked at the mace in his hand that had become the size of a toothpick. There were only a few holes on his body. Where could I put it? Nose? What? Jiang Chen was lost in thought, and his face looked strange. Suddenly he slapped his thigh. Yes, learn from Sun Wukong and put it in your ear. That he did it as he said it. Jiang Chen carefully put the toothpick-shaped 8 fasts into his ear and pulled it, bringing out a circle of earwax. Hiss comfortable. Jiang Chen looked intoxicated. He had a lot of fun pulling out the iron rod and shrinking it back in again and again. Jiang Chen patted his head, and the huge weapon disappeared. He realized that there was nothing wrong with his body, and nodded with satisfaction. The sun set in the west, and the afterglow of the sunset sprinkled on the street in front of the primary school. The primary school students who jumped out of the school gates scattered like young swallows returning to their nests. Some were picked up by their parents, and some walked in groups of 3 or 2. Xiao Xiao, look, this is the latest issue of Xinhua. I finally got it. How about it? Want to read it? Wow. I want to read it. Xiaoyi, let me see it. Xiao Xiao laughed and hugged the little girl next to her with one hand, and grabbed the comic magazine with the other hand. The other little girl had already seen through the evil plan, and smiled and raised the magazine, turned around and jumped to the side. At the entrance of the canteen next to the school, 2 little girls with schoolbags were chasing and playing. Hey, Xiaoyi, how about I treat you to snacks? Give me Xinhua. I'll tell you a secret, my brother gave me a lot of money. Popsicles, spicy strips, and potato chips are all yours. Jiang Xiao, who was tired of chasing, turned his eyes cunningly and suggested. Wow, really? Then you will become a little rich woman. I will present you with a precious book. Not far away, in a dim corner alley, 2 gangsters with yellow hair and tattoos on their arms looked at each other with a wicked smile on their lips. One of them took out a notebook and wrote and drew on it. The other saw the 2 girls walking farther and farther away, and then put out the cigarette in his hand. Don't write any more, let's go, follow me. Hearing this, the other put away the notebook, and the 2 of them followed Jiang Xiao from a distance until she returned home. After a long time, the 2 returned to the alley before. TSK, Brother Lu didn't come again. I'm so annoyed waiting to report to him every day. Say less, who asked him to control us, be careful, he heard it. One of them comforted a few words, and the other cursed, and the 2 squatted on the ground and smoked. Can you tell me what you want to report? A deep voice sounded from behind the 2. Who? The 2 startled, one turned around and took out a dagger and pointed it at the back, but looked around but could not see any figure. Looking down, they saw a tall black shadow behind them. Don't be too excited, don't worry, I have no big malice, just show me the little notebook in your arms, and answer a few questions for me. The black shadow has not finished speaking. The 2 looked at each other, and turned around and stabbed behind them at the same time as if they had tacit understanding. Die for me. But there was a stumble, and it was empty again. No, it's a tricky idea, retreat. The 2 gangsters' faces changed, knowing that the newcomer might be very powerful, and they immediately fled in 2 opposite directions, already running away dozens of meters away. But the black shadow appeared in front of the 2 people in an instant, and kicked them back to the original place with 1 foot. The black shadow was very fast. The distance of 100 meters back and forth is just a few feet away. Who are you? The 2 men fell to the ground in pain, holding their chests, feeling that their bones were broken by the kicks. If they hadn't had some basic skills, they would have been kicked to death long ago. The man in front of him was wrapped tightly in a black suit, his face was covered by a black hood, and his tall and strong figure could be vaguely seen. "Third time is enough, my patience is very limited," that the low voice sounded again. The two gangsters looked at each other, and one of them took out a small notebook and threw it to the man in black. The man in black took it and flipped through it directly, while the man in black was distracted. The two men showed their ferocity again. "What's so great about being strong? It's not like I haven't killed anyone before." Point one on the left and one on the right, the two men rushed over again with knives. Seeing the black-clothed man motionless, the two men were delighted. "Huh, this idiot who thinks he is so strong. A lion will use all its strength to fight a rabbit. Do you understand? Remember this for the rest of your life." In the nick of time, the black-clothed man calmly turned around and coincidentally passed by this deadly killing intent. "I think I said that 3 times is the limit," that the black-clothed man put the small notebook in his pocket, and when the two people were separated, he grabbed their heads with both hands, and slammed their heads together with his palms. Just listen, bang. With a sound, it was like the heads of the two people burst like watermelons, and the bright red scattered all over the ground. The two headless corpses knelt on the ground, no longer alive. "Look, listen to people's advice and eat a full meal." The man in black finished speaking slowly, lifted his hood, and Jiang Chen's face appeared. A few days ago, when Jiang Chen sent people to protect his family, someone reported that another group of people were also monitoring Jiang Xiaoxiao. Jiang Chen came here today just to see who dared to pay attention to his family. Chapter 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With a breath of fire from Jiang Chen, the two bodies on the ground were instantly burned to ashes. Jiang Chen, who put on his hood again, left the alley in black clothes. The calm alley seemed to have been so peaceful all the time, only the ashes on the ground were still silently telling the bloody story before. Half an hour later, the wall of the alley suddenly showed a transparent round outline, and a thin man fell out from it. The man looked at the two piles of ashes on the ground and wiped his sweaty forehead with his hands. He was the leader of the two men and had come here long ago to wait for them to meet. As a superhuman door fruit ability user, he originally wanted to tease the two men and pretend to be cool to maintain his status. Unexpectedly, before he appeared, his two men were killed by the black-clothed man. If Jiang Chen hadn't taken off his hood at the end, he wouldn't know who he had offended. "I met the real boss, and it was Qinglong Jiang Chen who appeared in person. I knew that this job was not an easy job." Lu Hua was hiding in the space of the men fruit, and he didn't dare to come out. Half an hour after Jiang Chen left, his physical strength was almost exhausted, and he could no longer maintain the power of the fruit, and fell out of the space. "It's terrible, I almost lost my life. I won't take this kind of job next time." That Lu Hua patted his chest, trying to stabilize his pounding heartbeat. "Oh. I took it, who did I take it from?" That a sinister voice sounded from behind Lu Hua, and Lu Hua's face turned pale and his whole body stiffened. He didn't dare to look back at all. "Brother, don't kill me, I confess everything." Jiang Chen felt unsafe when he killed the two men, and thought there should be accomplices. To be safe, he pretended to leave after destroying the bodies, and went around to gather his breath and return to this place to lurk. "My goodness, I waited for half an hour and my legs were sore. Finally caught another fish." "You're quite good at hiding." Jiang Chen grabbed the man's collar and dragged him in front of him. "Brother, you're joking. It's not presentable to make a living by making money in the underworld. It's not presentable." The man laughed and said in a humble tone. "Tell me, make a small notebook to record what this little girl wants to do." "I don't know. I just follow orders and do whatever the boss tells me to do. I'm a small leader of the Lyoha gang nearby. I usually collect protection fees and so on. Recently, I was ordered by the boss to monitor the little girl." "Yes. It's all the boss's orders and it has nothing to do with me." Lu Hua burst into tears. "I have children and parents. My whole family is counting on me. Please be merciful, I promise I won't dare to do it again next time." "Pa!" With a crisp sound, Jiang Chen slapped Lu Hua in the face, and several teeth flew out. Lu Hua's mouth and nose were bleeding. What are you doing? You are pretending to be pitiful in front of me, what are you doing? Jiang Chen showed his face, and his fierce face was exposed. Do you know me? Lu Hua was hit by the big bidu and his head was dizzy. Yes, I know you. You are Qinglong Jiang Chen, the strongest genius in Qincheng. Everyone in Qincheng knows you. You are, the destined overlord in the future. What about this girl? Jiang Chen took out a small notebook and pointed to the photo on it, showing it to Lu Hua. In the photo, Jiang Xiaoxiao made a V sign with both hands and a sunny smile. Lu Hua swallowed his saliva. This little girl is called Jiang Xiaoxiao, just an ordinary elementary school student, and her last name is also Jiang. Could she be your relative? Sir. I really don't know this. If I knew she was your relative, I wouldn't dare to send someone to monitor her even if I had 10 guts. Lu Hua tried his best to deny that he knew the relationship between Jiang Xiaoxiao and Jiang Chen. He knew that intentional and unintentional were two different crimes. Now, even if he was beaten to death, he would never dare to admit it. The former is a 100% chance of death. The latter is also a 100% chance of death, but at least there is a glimmer of hope. Jiang Chen stared at Lu Hua's face, sweating profusely, and was too lazy to expose him. So far, Lu Hua is still useful. Just assume you don't know, come on, take me to see your Liuhe gang leader, alive. Lu Hua was secretly happy. Yes, Mr. Jiang, I will take you to the headquarters of the Liuhe gang now. Walking through the bustling streets, fights can be seen everywhere, and venomous eyes flash from time to time in the dark corners. In this era, the more turbulent, the more darkness breeds. Following Lu Hua's lead, Jiang Chen stood in front of a brightly lit bar, with explosive music coming from time to time, and the words Liuhe Bar were written on the billboard. After entering, colorful lights flashed and dynamic music resounded throughout the venue. The DJ in the front row was playing the beats like crazy, and countless handsome men and beautiful women were having fun here, her youth. The cool-dressed girl danced and attracted the crowd. The bartender at the front desk swung the cup back and forth, constantly showing off his bartending skills, and occasionally put an ice cube in the glass, so that half of the glass was ice. Young Master Jiang, the headquarters of our Liuhe gang is here. The bar outside is just a cover. If you are interested, all the consumption in the bar in the future will be free. Lu Hua nodded and led Jiang Chen into the bar. The bartenders and waiters nearby all called Lu Hua Brother Lu when they saw him. Seeing Jiang Chen being treated seriously by Lu Hua, he couldn't help but wonder who this big shot was. He was covered tightly in black clothes. Was he cosplaying? What a strange hobby. As Jiang Chen and Lu Hua walked into the elevator, they came to the basement. After entering, there was a different world, and the noise came one after another. It turned out that this place was the headquarters of the Liuhe gang. On the left table, 4 men in vests were smoking and playing cards. On the right, someone was practicing boxing on a sandbag on the ring. A dying man with a bruised face and nose was tied to the sandbag. In the middle, a bald man who looked like a big brother was sitting on the sofa with his upper body naked and a purple fluffy cape on his shoulders, holding a cigar in his mouth. On each side, there was a hot and cool beauty. I don't know if she smoked too much strange things, but she threw herself into the man's arms with a dazed look. Jiang Chen used a high-dimensional perspective to scan the crowd. They were all in the black iron realm, only the man in the middle was a little special. The panel showed that he had learned the ancient martial arts Liuhe boxing. Those 2 girls were not even at the black iron level. It seemed that they were all just chickens and dogs. Lu Hua walked to the middle and looked at the 2 scantily clad beauties and swallowed his saliva. Oh, boss, I have a sore back from monitoring the prison today. I have to relieve my heat tonight, hee. Don't talk about these nonsense. How did you do what I asked you to do? Su Luo exhaled a breath while smoking a cigar and sprayed it directly on Lu Hua's face. He pinched the thigh of the beautiful woman next to him, which immediately caused her to laugh. Hee, big brother, the completion rate is almost 200%. Not only did I get the information of the little girl, I even tied up her brother. Look, That he walked around and pointed at Jiang Chen, who was exposed behind him. You are the boss of Liuhe gang. What identity and what level do you have to dare to wear the same cloak as me? Chapter 34. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Hua stepped aside, and Jiang Chen behind him took off his hood, revealing a cold face, staring straight at Su Luo, the leader of the Liuhe gang, with murderous intent in his eyes. Su Luo was shocked, and the cigar in his hand fell to the ground with a snap. Lu Hua. How dare you betray me, you bastard! Brothers, kill them! That while Su Luo ordered his men, he did a 365-degree backflip on the sofa and hid behind the sofa. With a flick of his cloak, countless steel needles as thin as cow hair shot towards Jiang Chen and the others like a storm. Hee, I'm sorry, leader. As the saying goes, water flows to low places, and people go to high places. Now that you have offended young Master Jiang, I can't be buried with you. Lu Hua opened a door in the air and hid in the space, avoiding the flying steel needles. Jiang Chen did not dodge, and the rushing steel needles hit his body and made a crisp sound. The flying needles pierced the benches and chairs around like a hornet's nest, but they had no effect on Jiang Chen. Seeing that his attack was ineffective, Su Luo kicked the sofa away and smashed it towards Jiang Chen like a parabola. Ah! The two women sitting on the sofa had no time to react and were thrown out by the huge inertia, and their lives were unknown. The huge solid wood sofa enveloped Jiang Chen like a mountain. Looking up and squinting, Jiang Chen used his hand instead of a knife, and the sofa was instantly split in two. A dull sound of hitting the ground exploded on both sides. Wood chips flew. The men nearby heard the sound and put down their work one after another. Ah, fight! A man showed off his butterfly knife, flashing a piece of knife shadow and rushed straight towards Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen passed by sideways, grabbed the man's wrist and used the force in the opposite direction. Under the powerful force, the butterfly knife held by the man stabbed uncontrollably into his heart. No. Don't. The heart was pierced, and blood gushed out of the corner of the man's mouth while he spoke. He covered his chest tightly as if this would reduce the loss of life. His body kept retreating and finally fell into the corner. Another man had knuckles in his fists, and his punches were swift and fierce, bringing gusts of wind. Jiang Chen turned his body, holding the black mace in his hand like fine steel, and with the force he swung it out, he made a sonic boom. The terrifying explosion immediately turned the man into a ball of blood mist. The white wall was like a layer of blood paint. The blood sprayed on everyone's face like the morning rain mist. The Liuhe gang seemed to have pressed the pause button, and the scene was silent. Everyone present suddenly felt a chill in their hearts, and an inexplicable fear made them tremble and their legs became weak. To live or to die? I hope you can face the reality. Jiang Chen stood with a stick in his hand, and the dark weapon smashed a deep pit on the ground, and the remaining blood was still dripping. The terrifying oppressive feeling emanating from his body made everyone feel like they were falling into the abyss like an evil ghost pouncing on its food. The gang leader's men were hesitant for a moment, and some of them could no longer bear the tense pressure. They took the lead in laying down their weapons, and a chain reaction occurred like dominoes. After someone took the lead, everyone laid down their weapons and surrendered. Hey! You can't believe his one-sided words. Jiang Chen, this devil, will not let us go. I am your gang leader. You must listen to me. Su Luo was furious when he saw everyone surrendering and turning against him, and he roared hoarsely. Jiang Chen pointed at Su Luo with a stick in one arm. Kill him, prove your worth to me, and you can live. Everyone looked at each other and swallowed their saliva after hearing this. Seeing this, Lu Hua, the user of the door-to-door fruit, took the lead and attacked Su Luo. If he wanted to survive, he had to show greater value than them. Seeing this, the others also joined in the siege of their old leader in order to survive. Every move hit the vital point. Life is so absurd. In the last second, he was still the subordinate of the gang leader, and in the next second, he had to siege his own gang leader under the order of a stranger. Ah! 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 You guys are a bunch of traitors. Die for me. Su Luo did not lose the upper hand in the face of the siege. He clenched his fists, and his fists were swift, hard, soft and powerful. A set of Lyoha boxing moves like a dragon, is as steady as a crouching tiger, as fast as a cunning rabbit, as smart as a monkey, and as light as a crane. Lu Hua's door-to-door fruit is elusive. Taking advantage of the other's distraction, he cut Su Luo from time to time, and escaped immediately after a successful strike. This old sick-style fighting style immediately made Su Luo flustered. Soon, Su Luo's body was covered with bloodstains of various sizes. The damage was not serious, but the insult was very strong. Su Luo roared in anger, Lu Hua. You are looking for death. At this moment, one of Su Luo's former subordinates swung a knife at his neck. You bastard. It's endless, right? Su Luo dodged and clamped the man with both hands. His face looked like a madman. He suddenly exerted force with both arms and tore him in half. No. Don't. The man was terrified. Before he finished speaking, he was torn to pieces alive. Jiang Chen watched the internal fight among the people of Lyoha gang with great interest. This man named Su Luo is quite interesting. Su Luo was fighting fiercely at this time. In a desperate situation, Lyoha boxing was integrated with his body and mind, and gradually entered a good state, as if he had escaped into an inexplicable epiphany. Lyoha boxing, the heart and mind are integrated, the mind and chi are integrated, the chi and strength are integrated, the hands and feet are integrated, the elbows and knees are integrated, the shoulders and hips are integrated, and the inside and outside are integrated. That is Lyoha. Su Luo's Lyoha boxing, which had not been broken through for a long time, finally reached a higher level and reached the highest level of Lyoha Jin. Ha 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 ha. Jiang Chen. Thanks to you, my ancient martial arts Lyoha boxing has finally reached the highest level. At this time, an air door behind him quietly opened, and Lu Hua stretched out a dagger from the air and stabbed Su Luo again with the same trick. At this time, Su Luo's martial arts had already reached the state of unity of body and mind, consistency of inside and outside, hands and feet, no advance or lag, no greed or apology. The downward force of the elbow is combined with the vertical force of the knee, the sinking force of the shoulder is combined with the holding force of the hip, the opening force of the shoulder is consistent with the round force of the crotch. The whole body is coordinated inside and outside, complementing each other without any disorder, and all 6 combinations are ready. He just turned around and hit, and in the confusion, he was the first to arrive, and hit Lu Hua's abdomen with a punch. He was immediately knocked out of the space and hit the wall, vomiting blood. He was listless and completely lost his fighting power. Then he looked at his men nearby with a fierce look in his eyes. You bunch of bastards. I treated you well, but you actually wanted to kill me for an outsider. I won't let any of you go. Then, with a big move, his hands, feet, elbows, knees, shoulders, and hips were all weapons. In a flash, all the men were defeated and fell to the ground. For a while, wailing sounded everywhere. Lu Hua, who fell to the ground with blood vomiting, stared at Su Luo with an angry look. Brothers, what we want from following you is just a place to settle down. Boss, you don't know your own weight and you are intervening in Jiang Chen and the Hao family, which are both giants for us. If you don't die, who will die? What do you know? The Hao family is big and powerful. Take this opportunity to stand in line and be their vanguard. In the future, my Lyoha gang will definitely be able to move to a higher level. Su Luo then pointed at Jiang Chen, and this guy is just talented. Kill him while he is weak. I don't believe that the Hao family can't take him down. Chapter 35. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Excellent, very excellent. You really gave me a good show. Jiang Chen clapped his hands to applaud Su Luo. You think we are just a boring pastime, right? Su Luo glared at Jiang Chen with gritted teeth. So what? Jiang Chen slammed the 8 fasts to the ground, and the ground cracked and shattered with a bang. He hooked his finger at Su Luo. Come on, your Lehiquan seems to be interesting. There are other powers hidden in your body. Is it a fruit? Try to defeat me. Maybe you still have a chance. Asshole. Who are you looking down on? Do I need your charity? Surprised that Jiang Chen saw through the clues, with a roar, Su Luo's appearance changed drastically and turned into a cheetah. Su Luo was the cheetah man who ate the leopard form of the animal-type cat fruit. Feeling the power and vitality gushing out of his body, Su Luo was full of confidence. He exerted force on his feet and rushed towards Jiang Chen in an instant, using his hands and feet, coordinating up and down. With one strike, the power and speed were perfect, natural, and full of a violent beauty. This is the secret of Liuhe boxing. He is a person's innate instinct, born with it, and not something new. Just like when a person walks, when he steps forward with his left foot, he naturally swings his left hand backward. When the two arms push forward, the 2 feet naturally kick back, and when the 2 arms pull back, the body naturally leans back. When raising the hand, the lungs naturally inhale. When the hand falls, the lungs naturally exhale. When accumulating strength, inhale, and when exerting strength, in short, when a person is exercising, according to the innate instinct, he always naturally puts himself in the most stable state, and makes the most suitable posture for the current movement situation, and Liuhe boxing is to portray this instinct in the battle. Jiang Chen couldn't help but lose his mind slightly when he saw this. Marveling at the magnificence of martial arts, he raised his hand and swung the mace across his body to block, and the iron rod and the leopard claw collided with a sizzle. And a burst of sparks burst out. Unable to claw, Su Luo changed his claws into grips, clamped the mace and kicked towards Jiang Chen with both feet. A strong and powerful reaction force came, and Su Luo felt that the bones of his legs were about to break. He jumped into the air with the force of the impact, and when he was about to land, his body curled up, perfectly removing the force. Jiang Chen was only knocked back a few steps. Su Luo pursed his lips tightly, his eyes were solemn and he said nothing. Jiang Chen patted the dust on his chest, as if the previous injury was not worth mentioning. It's my turn. A cold voice sounded, and Jiang Chen leaped into the air with his powerful body and swung the mace mercilessly. Wherever the mace passed, a whistling wind blew, and the shaft of the mace was actually wrapped with white snake-shaped lightning. Thunder Bagua. If he couldn't swing a stick with the domineering color wrapped around it like Kaido and hit a smooth attack like Black Thunder, then it would be almost the same to use the fruit ability to replace the additional thunder attribute. It's okay to call him Thunder Bagua, just think of it as Thunder Bagua version 1.0, Qinglong. But he is the master of fire, thunder and hurricane. Fast. It's too fast. Su Luo's eyes widened, and he frantically tried to urge his consciousness to dodge. Even Su Luo, who had reached the state of unity of body and mind, could only barely block with his arms crossed. A loud bang. The wall of the basement was broken through, and the ground shattered wherever the thunder passed. Broken stones were scattered all over the sky. Lu Hua and the others swallowed their saliva, looking like dumb chickens, and were terrified. Monster. Who can be an enemy of such a monster? Who dares to fight against such a monster? At this moment, they truly felt an incomparable fear, and Lu Hua no longer dared to have any strange thoughts. In the face of powerful strength, any tricks were useless, and the only thing to do was to surrender honestly. In the bar above, no one knew what happened. They only felt a loud bang, followed by a ground shaking. The circuit of the bar was completely paralyzed. The people who came here for entertainment thought there was an earthquake, and they fled in panic. Young men and women were frightened and their clothes were disheveled, and they fled frantically. When the smoke dissipated, in the depths of the pit, Su Luo climbed up with a choking sound. At this time, his whole body was burned and charred, his arms were broken, and his chest was sunken. Cough cough. Su Luo coughed out blood in large mouthfuls, mixed with broken internal organs, feeling the constant passage of life. If it weren't for the ability of the animal fruit forcibly extending his life, he would have died by now. He looked up at Jiang Chen, and then at his former subordinates, with a bitter smile on his lips. This battle is not my fault. Even if I die, I still think my decision is right. The weak rely on the strong to seek survival and development. This is the law of nature. My Liuhe gang has been surrounded by enemies as it has grown stronger and stronger. Relying on the Hao family, this black and white family in Qingqing, a strong force definitely has more advantages than disadvantages. Unfortunately, man's plans are not as good as God's. Who would have thought that just a trivial matter of surveillance and tracking could lay the foundation for the destruction of my Liuhe gang? Who would have thought that when the two armies were fighting, the enemy commander would kill them directly if the soldiers moved lightly? Jiang Chen. You dare to pat your chest and say that you didn't send people to inquire about the news of the Hao family? Ha 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 ha, time and fate. Ahem. Lu Hua and others who fell to the ground couldn't help but sigh sadly when they heard this, and their sad expressions were filled with sadness, for their own survival and for Su Luo's upcoming end. Then Su Luo pointed his bloody arm at Jiang Chen with a mocking expression. You are too impatient. It's just a simple test that has caused you to be furious. Your weaknesses will be completely exposed to your enemies. In this struggle, you have already fallen into a disadvantage. A stream of white air came out of the corner of his mouth, and he walked in front of Su Luo. Jiang Chen was surrounded by black air, and a terrifying domineering aura was overflowing. The oppressive feeling that could not be described in words swept all around. Everyone was almost unable to breathe due to the oppression. Su Luo, who was already seriously injured, knelt on the ground, unable to hide the fear in his heart, and his body could not help but tremble instinctively. On Jiang Chen's dark and calm face, veins bulged, and scarlet light flashed in his terrifying golden eyes. Then kill. Kill until no one dares to disobey me. And you? You are just one of those who died in my hands, just an ant. It turns out that I am the real clown in the end. Unable to bear Jiang Chen's abyss-like pressure any longer, Su Luo's spirit collapsed and he died completely. The leader of the Liuhe gang, who had risen from a gangster to a leader of the Qingqing underground world, died silently in his own base camp. Looking at Su Luo's motionless body, Jiang Chen sighed. Is there any hatred? In fact, there is no hatred. Jiang Chen never cares whether the opponent is a vicious gangster or a hero admired by thousands of people. If you make an enemy of someone, you must be prepared to be killed. After all, if a person is killed, he will die. It's your fault that you chose the wrong path. You dare to target my family. You just took a step ahead of the Hao family. Those who touch my reverse scale will not have a good end. Chapter 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dragging Ba Zhai Jie to Lu Hua and the others, the mace slashed across the floor. The harsh metal sound echoed in their ears like the whisper of the god of death. Lu Hua dared not breathe, and his feet could not help but retreat. There is a saying that goes, when the cunning rabbit dies, the running dog will be cooked. He is really afraid that Jiang Chen will go back on his word and start a killing spree. After all, who can guarantee whether these high-ranking monsters have any strange habits? Lu Hua carefully lowered his head and glanced at Jiang Chen with his peripheral vision. This master, when he kills, really doesn't look like a teenager of 18 or 19. He kills people like crazy, even more terrifying than monsters. He either smashes people's skulls or turns them into blood mist at any time. The bloody, terrifying and brutal feeling is simply full. In comparison, their so-called slitting necks and stabbing vital points are really too civilized. His own life is probably just an ant in his eyes. It all depends on Jiang Chen's mood. This feeling of waiting for judgment and not being able to decide life and death is like someone holding his heart tightly. It was almost suffocating. Jiang Chen sat on the ruins and looked at the few remaining living people including Lu Hua, who were staggering on the ground. They were the last few high-ranking people of Liuhe gang. Oh, don't worry, the chief culprit is dead and I am not interested in your lives. Seeing their fear, Jiang Chen mocked with disdain. Killing them is indeed easy, but it is of no use to himself. The strong found that killing the weak is not as good as forcing the weak to work for themselves, which is more beneficial to themselves. The weak also found that it is more cost-effective to live than to die, so a new rule was formed between the strong and the weak, that is, the weak should be enslaved by the strong and work for the strong. This is the rule set by the strong. And the weak also agreed. Jiang Chen also felt that it was better to subdue the Liuhe gang for his own use than to simply destroy it. Yes, yes, you are the dazzling star in the sky, and we are just dust on the ground, ordinary people. Killing us will dirty your hands. Lu Hua quickly flattered him. Seeing Lu Hua so flattering, everyone shook their heads and secretly despised him. Tsk. What do you know? Do you think you can walk in the world with just a passion? Do you think you can be successful and famous if you dare to fight and kill? Do you think you can get rich and noble in danger if you dare to fight? Wake up, naive. Look at the corpses around. The remains of the old gang leader are still telling the sadness. Lu Hua curled his lips in disapproval at the hidden white eyes of the crowd. Ignoring Lu Hua's flattery, Jiang Chen said indifferently, I won't kill you, but from today on, Liuhe gang must obey my orders. Who agrees? Who opposes? We are willing to surrender. Lu Hua took the lead and set an example. The others also knew how to judge the situation and expressed their surrender. Very good, tell me about the business scope of your Liuhe gang. Someone nearby brought a relatively intact chair and handed it to Jiang Chen to sit down. He showed a humble and flattering smile. Brother Chen, sit down. Seeing this, Lu Hua was secretly annoyed, angry that he was a step late. I only dared to call Jiang Chen Jiang Shao, but he climbed up and called Brother Chen. Faced with Jiang Chen's question, he hurriedly spoke first. Brother Chen. I am familiar with the business of the Liuhe gang. Our Liuhe gang's regular business is to open entertainment venues such as bars, video game arcades and casinos. Bailey usually makes a lot of money. But they were all hidden in Su Luo's small treasury. Brother Chen, don't worry, Lu Hua will definitely find the key to the small treasury and give the treasure to Brother Chen. Jiang Chen was also very happy when he heard this, pointing at Lu Hua and said. Okay, Lu Hua, you always find some new tricks for me. Find Su Luo's legacy. I will give you the position of the leader of the Liuhe gang. Lu Hua was overjoyed and hurriedly expressed his loyalty. Then he looked down at his former colleagues with pride. This world is not about fighting and killing, but about human relationships. The few people who were swept by Lu Hua forced smiles on their faces and congratulated one after another, but their cheeks were almost bitten to pieces behind their backs. Fence-sitters, flatterers, this Lu Hua is really lucky. Jiang Chen certainly knew what kind of people these people were, but he didn't care. He just regarded the Liuhe gang as a tool to make money and get information, and he could sacrifice it at any time when necessary. Lu Hua, you said that your Liuhe gang's regular business is these, tell me what the irregular business is. Jiang Chen's eyes were playful. Hey, that. Brother Chen, our dishonest behavior is just collecting protection fees from the surrounding merchants, lending money at high interest rates, selling a popular substance called acetaminophen on the market, and, occasionally trafficking people to other underground forces. Lu Hua raised his head and carefully observed Jiang Chen's expression, fearing that he would make him unhappy. After all, each of these things sounded easy but was actually very sinful. As Lu Hua explained, Jiang Chen also gradually understand their so-called improper things. The so-called acetylene powder is simply a contraband that makes people addicted and excited. Too many people are addicted to the poisonous claws of acetylene powder because of their despair of this world. And most of the trafficked people are the pillars of the family who died in the fight against monsters and fog, and the elderly, children, women and children who are left alone. Humph. Things that are not worthy of being on the table. From today on, all the improper businesses of the Liuhe gang will be cut off. Lu Hua, remember my words, if you can't figure it out, it's your head that will be cut off. Lu Hua and the others were immediately frightened and sweating, their legs trembled, and they nodded in agreement. Jiang Chen looked at them coldly. In today's era, the human race is struggling to survive. Whether it is the acetylene powder that wears down the will and leads to depravity, or the trafficking of the families of soldiers defending their homes, they are all very vicious and evil, chilling. Even Jiang Chen despised this kind of behavior. Jiang Chen felt that he could distinguish right from wrong. Chen. Brother Chen, it's about human trafficking. There are many underground forces asking us to do this. If we completely cut it off now, it will be difficult to report to the authorities. Our Liuhe gang may suffer a disaster. Let's just ask if we can take a gradual approach to reduce it. Lu Hua bravely swallowed his saliva and asked carefully. Jiang Chen's eyes condensed, and murderous intent emerged. Do you need me to repeat it a second time? Yes, yes, yes. I will immediately cut off all the shady businesses. I will never hold you back. Lu Hua seemed to have walked through the gates of hell, and his heart was pounding. Don't worry, if I really meet an opponent I can't compete with, I will take action. Jiang Chen spoke as a reassurance to them. Everyone felt relieved immediately. Jiang Chen then pointed to the man who was tied to the sandbag and the two women who were with Su Luo. Now they were lying on the ruins and their lives were unknown. Could it be that these three people were trafficked by you? A senior member of the Liuhe gang stepped forward to explain. No, Brother Chen, the man was caught by us because he borrowed high-interest loans and didn't pay them back. The two women were just hostesses with Su Luo. It's an unprovoked disaster. Go and treat them and send them to the hospital. Don't forget to give them some compensation. That's what you owe. Jiang Chen said lightly. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Luo, the leader of Liuhe gang, is dead. When did you get the news? Just 2 days after we asked him to monitor Jiang Chen's family. Did Jiang Chen do it? It's most likely him, although the news is about an internal gang fight. Su Luo was ambushed and killed by Lu Hua, one of his subordinates who used the ability of the gate fruit. Look, uncle, no matter how powerful the opponent is, there will always be a weak spot, right? In a high-end club, Hao Sei, the eldest son of the Hao family, was conspiring with his uncle Hao Niubai. Father is really something. He actually ordered us not to take action against Jiang Chen for the time being. Bastard! Does he really think of me as his son? Hao Sei's face was hideous, and he smashed the wine glass in his hand. The facial wound was pulled, and he couldn't help but screaming in pain. The two beautiful girls who were accompanying him to drink were frightened and collapsed to the side. Hao Niubai hurried forward to comfort his nephew. Your father must have his reasons for doing this, don't worry, although we can't take action against him openly for the time being, but there are policies from above, and countermeasures from below. This matter is up to uncle. Hao Sei's face turned from anger to joy after hearing this. Uncle, do you have a countermeasure to avenge me? Hao Niubai smiled calmly. This Jiang Chen is really a young man. He is too impatient. We just sent someone to investigate his family lightly, and his reaction was so great, it can be seen that his family is very important to him. Uncle, don't keep me in suspense. I know all this. The key is how to avenge me without anyone knowing. Hao Sei was anxious and couldn't wait to hear the next step. Hao Niubai took a sip of wine slowly and played with the beauty in his arms. Why are you in such a hurry? I'll tell you a secret. Do you remember the monster attack that happened near the monster defense line? Of course I remember. I heard that it was a powerful bronze-level monster, the human-faced moth, which devoured many masters. This monster is very evil. When it eats a person, the person's face will appear on the face of the human-faced moth. This monster is very good at camouflage. After devouring flesh and blood, it will wear the clothes of the dead, hide in the dark, and wait for an opportunity to move, looking for the next victim. The army branch spent a lot of manpower and paid a lot of painful price to catch this monster. After research, guess what? Hauser was excited and asked hurriedly. What's the matter? Is there anything special about this human-faced moth? When of course there is. Just from the name, you can tell that any demon beast can be fierce, cruel, brutal, and bloodthirsty, but it is absolutely impossible to be evil. Speaking of this, Hao Niubai couldn't help but show a trace of doubt. Research has found that this human-faced moth has no wisdom at all. It just acts on instinct. After being caught and unable to eat people, it will fall into a stagnation, silent, not eating or drinking, and will not resist attacks. Its human face will gradually rot and disappear like a dead person, and its face will become blank. You know, everything related to evil is inseparable from the word fog in the end. Hiss, that's evil enough. House couldn't help but get goosebumps. House, do you know what the strong people who have been on the front line to defend the city and protect mankind are most afraid of encountering? House seemed to be talking to House, and seemed to be talking to himself. They would rather fight the monsters with real swords and guns at the monster defense line. They are unwilling to face the unknown and unpredictable evil and weird existences in the depths of the fog. Uncle, your story is very exciting. I dare not go to the toilet alone at night, but what does this have to do with our trouble with Jiang Chen? Hao Sei interrupted his uncle Hao Nyobai and said. You don't know this, the army branch has finally researched something and found that it is particularly sensitive to the blood smell of monsters and humans, which can easily stimulate its desire to attack. What do you think will happen if we mix the blood of beasts and humans and spray it near the house of Jiang Chen's family? It just so happens that the army branch has not been able to find any clues recently, and is preparing to send it to the prison in the jurisdiction of your uncle and me for custody. You said that it escaped accidentally in the middle of the journey. The uncle and nephew smiled at each other and drank a cup. Nephew, this is known only to heaven and earth, you and me, but you are not allowed to tell anyone else. Don't worry, uncle, I will keep my mouth shut. I just don't know if these beauties can keep their mouths shut. House looked at the beauties drinking with him in the private room with a half-smile. The beauties were so frightened that they knelt down and swore that they would keep what they heard tonight to themselves. This time, they complained bitterly. They thought it was just a normal job of accompanying guests. They didn't care about Hao Sei and Hao Nyobi's discussion about Jiang Chen. They just thought that the unlucky guy was unlucky to offend the Hao family. Although they felt something was wrong when they heard about the introduction of the human-faced moth, they just listened to it as a strange story. Who knew that there would be a murder plot later? This was not something that these weak women could listen to. At this time, they could only pray to God for these two big men to let them go. Uncle, don't you need a mixture of animal blood and human blood? These are ready-made. House pointed at the beautiful women accompanying guests. His face was like a devil. No. Help, ah. As the uncle and nephew of the Hao family left the private room and walked away, a team of cleaning staff rushed into the private room in a moment, followed by the sound of dragging heavy objects. The private room was clean and tidy again, spotless, a dimly lit and dark conference room. Can you tell me why the experimental subjects are so few this month? A gloomy voice sounded in the darkness. No way, it seems that there are some problems in the downstream source. A small force called Liuhe Gang seems to have overthrown its former leader, and the new leader cut off all dark industries, as if he wants to whitewash. The market for human trafficking has recently seen a sharp drop in the volume of goods, resulting in a shortage of goods. Many other dark forces are competing with us, especially the organ crime group. We who do biological experiments can only burn money. How can we compete with them compared to making money? I don't care about the progress of biological experiments, we can't stop. This is an order from the top. To put pressure on the dark forces that manage human trafficking, you can't even deal with a small force in your own territory. What a waste. Also put a batch of berserker potions on the market. If there are no experimental subjects, let those customers become our experimental subjects. It's just a loss of some lifespans. Understood. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the evening, far away from the bustling urban center of Qinglong, near the edge of the city, the urban-rural junction is where many ordinary people who work hard all day just to make ends meet live. Most of the people here are old residential areas and some seriously polluting chemical plants. Jiang Chen's home is also here. The hard-working people walk together after get off work in groups of 3 or 2, talking and laughing. A wide and rugged gravel road leads directly to the residential area in the distance. The cool spring breeze soothes people's tired hearts, and the willow trees on both sides of the road sway gently, rolling up a circle of catkins. In the end, I was glad that the sunset still stayed on me. I didn't have time to tell the story of how ups and downs. Jiang Chen was carrying 2 bottles of foreign wine Louis XVIII and was ready to take them back for his father to try. He asked someone to get them from Liuhe Bar. It was said that brandy was very expensive and cost 28,888 baileys per bottle. I don't know if it tastes good or not, anyway Jiang Chen can't get used to it, and I don't know if my dad likes it." Jiang Chen, humming a song, staggered towards home. There were scattered shops and mobile food stalls on both sides of the road. An old lady who lived downstairs from Jiang Chen's house came over with a cane and a basket of vegetables, apparently going to the vegetable market to buy vegetables. She smiled when she saw Jiang Chen. "Oh, it's the boy from the Jiang family, school is over. It's Aunt Jiang, she's going to make delicious food for her grandson again." "Oh, that's right, the child is picky about food, and he insists on eating some vegetable meatball soup. It's normal for children to be picky about food." Occasionally, when he met acquaintances of his parents, Jiang Chen would greet them with a smile. Old Lady Zhang looked at Jiang Chen's tall figure and strong muscles, and was a little hesitant to speak, but finally spoke. "Jiang Chen, I didn't realize you've grown up so much and still don't have a girlfriend. I'm not saying anything bad about you. It's good for a man to exercise, but you can't do it too much. You won't be liked by girls like this." Jiang Chen waved his hand speechlessly. What do old people know? Big muscles are good, and more muscles are beautiful. If you are a real man, you should exercise yourself. Look at those skinny guys, I can beat them to death with one punch. A real man knows what he needs in his heart. Is it okay, Shigo? Jiang Chen complained wildly in his heart, and said a few words to Aunt Jiang calmly before saying goodbye and leaving. There is nothing to talk about, and there is no way to talk anymore. When passing by the park bench, Jiang Chen's sensitive sense of smell smelled a slight rotten smell. It's like a pile of dead fish and shrimps thrown into the trash can in the middle of summer, and no one cleaned it up for a long time, emitting a disgusting smell. Ugh! Jiang Chen almost retched, looking for the source of the stench. He turned around and saw a middle-aged man wrapped in tattered clothes sitting on a park bench. His face was pale and bloodless, and he stared blankly at the gate of Xingfu and not far away. He ignored the passers-by in Jiang Chen's disgust. Jiang Chen's home is in the community. Jiang Chen knew that this man was a homeless man who had been wandering in the surrounding communities for a long time and made a living by begging. Jiang Chen turned his head and held his breath to quickly pass through the suffocation area formed by the homeless man. After more than 10 steps, he suddenly took a big breath of fresh air. How long has this man not taken a shower? He stinks all over, his face is whiter than if I had died for 3 days, and his figure is also very strange. I have never seen him become so short and swollen before. Jiang Chen shook his head, too lazy to think. He felt that it was time to change the living environment for his parents and younger sister. Now that he has money, he can buy a house in a good and prosperous area. After Jiang Chen walked away, the homeless man sitting on the bench slowly turned his pale head behind him. If passers-by saw this, they would be scared to death. Who can turn their head 180 degrees? When Jiang Chen came downstairs of his house, he smelled a completely different fishy smell, just like rotten meat dripping with stinky blood, which was smeared on your face for 49 days. This feeling of wanting to escape but not being able to escape. Damn, I can't stay in this place for a moment. Move. I must move. This old community can't even afford a sanitation worker, right? After 2 critical hits in one day, Jiang Chen felt that his spirit was polluted. Thanks to his strong physical fitness, his sense of smell is several times that of ordinary people, and the critical hits he received are also stronger than others. Like a feint, he returned home. Seeing that his son's face was not right, his mother Zhang Lin hurriedly stepped forward to ask worriedly. "What's wrong, son? What happened? Why is your face so bad?" Jiang Chen casually said Yen was fine, so he took the 2 bottles of foreign wine and handed them to his father Jiang Yuansheng. "Dad, look at the 2 bottles of good wine I brought you." "Oh, you've grown up." Jiang Yuansheng took it happily while smoking a cigarette. "Hee, I still haven't drunk foreign wine. I can't read foreign languages." "My son is expensive, right?" "Not at all. I bought it at a discount from a friend." Jiang Chen laughed it off. Jiang Yuansheng was usually very frugal. If he really told him the price of the wine, he would probably be so angry that he would call Jiang Chen a prodigal. It's better to have less trouble than more. Jiang Chen made up an excuse to get rid of Jiang Yuanqing's inquiry. Just spoil him. Drinking every day will cause trouble sooner or later. Jiang's mother was angry. After dinner, the family stayed on the sofa watching TV and chatting. Jiang Xiaoxiao rolled her eyes and tilted her head to look at her brother Jiang Chen. Brother, didn't your school hold the devil fruit opening ceremony many days ago? It's been so many days, and we didn't ask, and you didn't tell us, really. After hearing this, Jiang's father and mother also became interested and stopped eating melon seeds. In order not to put too much pressure on their son, they didn't pay much attention to his fruit acquisition. In fact, they were also very curious about what kind of devil fruit Jiang Chen got. Oh, it's the animal-type fish fruit, the fantasy beast species. Jiang Chen calmly ate an apple and watched TV, without any intention of hiding his strength from his parents. Oh, the fish fruit, it's okay, son, don't be discouraged, everyone has their own destiny. Hey, wait. The fantasy beast species Qinglong, that the parents and the little sister opened their mouths wide, and the melon seeds in their hands fell to the ground at the same time. They are really a family. You are Qinglong Jiang Chen, the #1 prodigy in Qingcheng who has been making a lot of noise in the news recently. What are you doing? What Qinglong Jiang Chen? I'm your son. You're so excited. I thought you knew it from the news. Jiang Chen curled his lips and said indifferently. Jiang's father and mother were speechless. They were busy with work and had no time to care about news about prodigies. Making money to support the family was their top priority. Although they had heard about it and knew that their son was a little genius, they never dared to think about the title of Qingcheng's #1 prodigy. They just thought it was a coincidence that they had the same name. Even the colleagues around them teased them about it. Who would have thought that their son would be so promising? My son Jiang Chen has the potential to be an emperor. The heartless Jiang Xiaoxiao was very happy at this time. Yeah, my brother is the #1 prodigy in Qingcheng. I'll tell my classmates and scare them to death. Let's see if they dare to disobey me in the future, hee. Jiang Chen patted her forehead and smiled. Good fellow, you use my name to bully people everywhere. You little villain, you want to make enemies for your brother, right? Chapter 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After pretending to be a big shot in front of his parents and younger sister, Jiang Chen spoke. Mom and Dad, since you have discovered me, I will not pretend anymore. That's right. I am rich now. You know me. I am a genius. People always rush to give me money, so I plan to change our house to a better one. What do you think? Jiang Yuanqing and Zhang Lin were moved by what he said, but they still said, why waste that money? This place is good and there is no need. My son is thoughtful. Mom and Dad, I am serious about changing the house. The environment here is not good. It is remote and old. It may become a dangerous house one day. It may collapse one day. There are also some homeless people wandering around. You don't want Xiao to have anything happen on the way home, right? Jiang Chen persuaded them with emotion and reason, and with Jiang Xiaoxiao's crying expression, Jiang's father and mother finally agreed to find time to look at the house. Oh yeah, we are moving to a new house. Jiang Xiaoxiao was very noisy. Late at night, Jiang Chen was suddenly awakened by a chill. He suddenly opened his eyes were solemn, just in his dream, his sixth sense was constantly warning him that there was a dangerous atmosphere nearby. He turned over and got out of bed, and Jiang Chen immediately activated his observation haki. The powerful perception permeated the surroundings. Parents and Xiao were sleeping in their respective bedrooms. Xiao kicked the quilt everywhere in his sleep. Suddenly Jiang Chen's face turned cold, and in his powerful observation haki perception, there was a vague figure standing outside the window of the living room balcony without moving. As if it lasted forever. Damn! This is the 14th floor. None of the trees around the community can grow to the height of the 14th floor. Jiang Chen felt a slight chill on his back, and his intuition told him that the figure that came was definitely not a human. His observation haki did not even sense the extra life breath and heartbeat of that figure. Which evildoer dares to run wild in my house? In order not to wake up his family, Jiang Chen carefully opened the door, walked to the living room and looked at the figure through the window. The figure was the homeless man that Jiang Chen had seen in the evening. At this time, the homeless man was still wrapped in the tattered clothes, his face was pale and creepy, and he was suspended in the air. What was even more weird was that he was facing Jiang Chen, but his toes were pointing outward. Jiang Chen almost couldn't breathe when he saw this. What the hell? This person was clearly facing the window with his back to the window, but his face was facing him. Is it a special devil fruit ability? Jiang Chen calmed his mind and guessed secretly. That's right. It must be. A man does not talk about strange things. I have never heard of ghosts in this world. Jiang Chen's face was hideous. Damn. You scared me. I'm going to tear your head off today. Then Jiang Chen tightened his clothes, flew forward, opened the balcony window at lightning speed, took out the 8 fasts with his right hand, swept across the 4 directions and slashed at the unknown monster fiercely. That's right, before knowing what the monster was made of, Jiang Chen really didn't dare to touch the other party with his own flesh and blood. God knows what kind of disgusting thing this thing is. The monster was very fast, and it retreated slightly to avoid Jiang Chen's attack. Jiang Chen's original intention was just to drive it away. After all, he couldn't put the battlefield too close to home. Then Jiang Chen rushed into the sky with a moon step, holding the 8 fasts and hooked his hand at the monster. The monster raised his head and turned his face 360 degrees, his eyes facing down, his mouth facing up, staring at Jiang Chen expressionlessly, and also flew to chase Jiang Chen. This guy. What the hell is this thing? It can't even feel any emotional fluctuations. Jiang Chen secretly thought, while continuing to lure the monster to fly to the remote suburbs far away from Xingfu's home. 2 figures, one big and one small, chased each other in the sky like meteors. It only took a moment. Jiang Chen landed on a wasteland, twisted his neck, loosened his muscles, and turned to look at the flying monster tramp. Although I don't know what you are, you'd better confess now. After all, life and death will not be up to you when we fight later. The monster had no desire to communicate at all, and rushed straight to Jiang Chen. The mouth suddenly opened, an exaggerated bloody mouth, and bit Jiang Chen. What the hell? Thunder Bagua. Jiang Chen backhanded the stick and chopped it up. The fine steel-long stick collided fiercely with the monster's sharp teeth. The collision made a harsh friction sound. Jiang Chen exerted force with his arm, knocked it back 100 meters, and broke several trees. Small lightning kept crackling along the way. The monster's neck was broken, but it stood up again, pressed its neck back to its original position with its arm, and was alive and well again. Then it was even more. The clothes burst, revealing a body like a silkworm pupa. 2 transparent wings suddenly opened behind him. Is this a demon beast or a user of the moth fruit ability? Before Jiang Chen could think, the wings of the moth-like monster suddenly flapped, and in the blink of an eye, it crossed a distance of 100 meters and came to Jiang Chen's side. The body rotated, and the wings as thin as cicada wings swept towards Jiang Chen's legs like a blade. So fast, Jiang Chen's eyes focused. He jumped high in the nick of time and avoided this fierce murderous intent. At the same time, he turned over like a python, swung the mace and chopped it down. Jiang Chen chopped 5 sticks in a row, but he didn't expect that the monster's wings as thin as cicada wings were unusually hard. He was able to fight with Jiang Chen without losing the upper hand. In the end, he was still repelled several meters by Jiang Chen. No human of the same level can fight me head-on. It seems that you are not a human. That is a monster. Interesting. Are monsters so smart now? They can wear clothes to disguise themselves. Jiang Chen smiled, and at the same time he was secretly thinking, how could it be so coincidental that the monster actually crossed the front-line monster defense line and came here, and happened to come to the neighborhood where his parents lived? Jiang Chen always felt that there was something wrong here. But who is so capable of letting a bronze-level monster into the city? Aren't you afraid of playing badly? Jiang Chen now wants to capture it alive to find more clues from it. At this time, the moth monster on the opposite side didn't care so much, still looking at Jiang Chen with a dull expression, rushing to attack. The sharp teeth exuded a terrifying green cold light, and it was obvious that there was a dead poison in the mouth. Jiang Chen didn't want to fight it in close combat, so he stepped on the ground with his feet at a high frequency and flashed 100 meters away. Unexpectedly, the speed of the moth monster was also not much slower, and the wings raised a gust of wind, also 100 meters in an instant. Trouble, that he raised his foot and kicked the monster with a thunder kick. He interrupted the monster's flight and at the same time, he held the 8 fasts with both arms and struck Huashan from above. A thin lightning bolt was drawn down from the sky and wrapped around the mace. Boom! There was a sound like thunder from the ground. Chapter 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Quick! We must find the escaped monster as soon as possible at all costs. Otherwise, Qinglong may have a large-scale death incident. Captain Lu Chang. According to the tracker, the last place the monster appeared was here. Under the dark night, a fully armed team, led by a man and a woman, came to the gate of Xingfu and community. The woman who was talking was lowering her head and constantly fiddling with the compass-like tracker in her hand. Lu Chang, with a resolute and serious face and wearing a military uniform, stared at the female subordinate nervously. How is it? The chip implanted in the human-faced moth's body seems to have been damaged, and there is no further information for the time being. The woman with a childish face but a heroic temperament shook her head, indicating that they might have lost the location information of the human-faced moth. Damn it! Lu Chang punched the tree, and immediately a large fist hole was smashed into the tree. There is no other way. Mark all the suburbs nearby as warning areas. Search them one by one. Don't let the monster attack civilians. At this time, Lu Chang was extremely angry. This human-faced moth had killed countless masters in the monster defense line at the border of Qinglong. The Qinglong army branch had to mobilize a lot of combat power to barely subdue it. Including himself, there were 5 bronze-level masters participating in the battle. Even several of his comrades were unfortunately killed in the battle. When Lu Chang thought of the monster killing people with the face of his close comrade, he couldn't help but feel grief. It was clearly caught and sent to a prison in Qinglong for imprisonment and waiting for processing. How could it suddenly escape? Lu Chang was really puzzled by this matter. Damn it! If I find out that someone is playing tricks, I will definitely peel his skin off. Just thinking about it, a sharp insect chirp and a bright blue sky thunder exploded from a distance. Lu Chang and the fully armed people stared at each other. Over there. Chase them! Everyone got the order and jumped onto the roof of the high wall and rushed to the target area. All of them were first-class senior Black Iron Realm masters. At this time, Jiang Chen entered the Dragon Man form, emitting hot steam all over his body, holding a mace, breathing heavily, staring at a pile of bloody monsters that looked like moths in the deep pit under his feet. At this time, the bloody flesh was still wriggling. This guy, it seems like he is immortal. Jiang Chen had wanted to capture the monster with a human face and a moth body alive, but he didn't expect that the monster seemed to have no sense of pain, and even no fear. The 4 arthropod-like legs were broken by Jiang Chen, and the wings were torn by Jiang Chen, but he still rushed to Jiang Chen regardless of everything. A life-for-life style. It was like an irrational madman, no. More terrifying than a madman. The key is that the body of the monster is very strange. If the legs are broken, just pick them up and put them back together. If the neck is broken, just twist it straight. If the wings are cracked, just put them together. The body is like a puzzle. The scary thing is that it is really useful. After installing it, it will be full of energy again. Jiang Chen also became interested when he encountered such a monster. He never believed that there are immortal monsters or perpetual motion machines. If there are, There must be a special energy source in an unknown place that can continuously replenish the loss. Although this world does not follow the law of conservation of energy, power can never be generated out of thin air. There must be some source explanation. Jiang Chen kept destroying the body tissue of the monster. As he was beating, a broken square metal piece popped out of the monster's body. It looked like a chip. Jiang Chen ignored it and continued to destroy the monster's body. If there were outsiders present at this scene, they would probably call it cruel. This is simply a living scene of whipping a corpse. So the scene at the beginning appeared. Jiang Chen, who was a little tired from fighting, was panting and holding a mace, looking at a pool of blood mud under the deep pit. The blood mud kept wriggling and seemed to be undergoing some kind of transformation. It was not only not weakening but also strengthening. Jiang Chen stared at the monster's fermentation behavior with interest. He really wanted to see what new tricks this monster could bring to it. The powerful strength gave Jiang Chen unparalleled confidence. He didn't think that this monster with a human face and a moth body could turn over his palm. At this time, a subtle sound of footsteps came from nearby. Jiang Chen frowned and sensed that a group of people were approaching quickly. Among them, there was a strong bronze-level aura flashing. Is it the mastermind behind the monster? Jiang Chen thought secretly clenched the 8 fasts in his hand, and looked in the direction of the person with a cold expression. At this time, Lu Chang and others rushed to the vicinity of the wasteland in a hurry. At a glance, I saw the bloody monster lying in the deep pit and the hideous dragon standing nearly 8 meters tall. The first monster held an extremely exaggerated heavy mace that was more than 1 person tall, staring at them. The blazing and bright golden dragon eyes were like the god of death that was high above, which was chilling. What kind of monster is this? Are 2 monsters fighting each other? The bronze-level human-faced moth was beaten like this. How terrifying must this dragon-headed monster be? It's over. Its ferocious face that chooses people to eat is so scary. The sense of oppression is too strong. I'm afraid Captain Lu Chang is not a match. I want to call my mother and tell her not to prepare breakfast for me tomorrow. The fully armed team members swallowed their saliva. Even though they were very scared, the responsibility in their heart still supported them to raise their weapons and aim at Jiang Chen. The atmosphere suddenly became dangerous. Enough. Put down your weapons. He is not a monster, he is a human. The animal-type fruit ability user. Idiots, I told you to study hard but you didn't listen. You just watch short videos and give gifts to the anchor every day. Captain Lu Chang shouted at his men, and at the same time, he clasped his fists to Jiang Chen to show his goodwill. What? This is a human. I have heard of someone whose animal-type transformation can become so big. It's too exaggerated. Everyone looked at Jiang Chen's tall body in disbelief, their faces full of disbelief. Shut up. Tell me your origins and what is your relationship with this monster. Ignoring the goodwill released by the man who looked like the leader on the opposite side, Jiang Chen asked coldly, and at the same time, his powerful observation color was constantly sensing their emotions. If there is any hesitation or quibbling in their answers, Jiang Chen will definitely kill them. As if sensing Jiang Chen's killing intent, the leading man looked solemn. He felt a great sense of oppression, and his body's 6th sense kept warning him, stay away from that man. How could it be? Lu Chang's heart was filled with turbulent waves. As a captain of the Qinglong army branch, one of the most powerful bronze-level masters, he had been fighting monsters for many years and faced countless dangers. He had never felt such a fatal pressure as now. He had only felt this feeling from his superior, the strongest man in Qinglong. The head of the army branch. Major Duan Tianjiao.